Welcome to Hallmark Happenings. I'm your host, Betsy, and today I am chatting with Tiana Tully from the most recent Summer Nights movie, Love for Real. It just aired on July 31st, and oh, it was so good. Tiana and I are going to talk all about the movie. Did you know she's actually from Hawaii? And guys, this is not the only interview with a Love for Real actor. Be sure to check out the other brand new interview that just dropped with Carson Fagerbaki, who played Vanessa in Love for Real. So if you're wanting to fill 2 hours of your day with learning about what filming in Hawaii was like, then you have two interviews to listen to. This one with Tiana and the other one with Carson. You can visit hallmarkhappenings.com to listen to all of these episodes. But before we get to Tiana's interview, I have a few things to tell you about in the world of Hallmark Channel. So here is what is happening at Hallmark. Okay, I just found out some information about a new Christmas movie that will be filming in Mississippi. Of course, I'm sure you want to know who is going to be in this movie. Well, Erin Cahill is going to be starring and executive producing this movie, so that's really exciting. We all love a good Erin Cahill film. And for everyone listening, here's an interesting connection to Love for Real. The movie starring Erin will be directed by McLean Nelson, who just directed Love for Real. So he's back at it again. If it's as good as Love for Real was, then we are all in for a treat. Now, unfortunately, I know nothing about the plot summary, but I will keep you updated as I find out more information. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. If you like it, follow me on social media at Hallmark Happenings Podcast and on Twitter at Podcast Hallmark. All the links are in the show notes. We'll be right back with Tiana's interview after this quick break. The Bundle Game has a 90s themed board game. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know I talk about the Bundle Game all the time. It's a completely customizable board game that's portable too, and they've just come out with a 90s theme. Will there be Saved by the Bell references, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I hope so. Crop tops, distressed jeans. There's so much 90s content that I hope is in it. If you want to see what's going to be in this board game, you need to check out thebundlegame.com. That's BUNDLE, and use code Hallmark Happenings for 10% off your order. Okay, we're back, and it is time to get to the interview with Tiana Tully. Please give a very warm welcome to today's guest, Tiana Tully.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tiana Tully from Love for Real, and you're listening to Hallmark Happenings.
I'm so excited to talk with you because I loved the movie. It was one of my favorites so far this year because it was so different.
Yeah.
What were your initial reactions when you got to see the final finished movie?
I was very nervous to see it, but after watching it, I was so happy with it. It was really cool to see it all come together, especially for the scenes that I wasn't in and the ones that I just watched from the side. So it was, particularly the one where Vanessa falls in the water. That was really enjoyable. I loved it. I was really, really happy with how it came out.
Yeah, I actually just talked to Carson this morning, and we were talking all about the flipping into the pool and how there was one take, and it turned out so well.
Yeah, it was one take, but it was so much fun. Everyone was just, the energy was surreal,
Oh yeah, and I think part of that, at least from something I thought of, everyone was younger as far as the cast goes, 20-year-olds and early 30s, and so that was kind of a nice change for Hallmark Channel, and so I hope to continue it because I love seeing the fresh faces.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought it was really cool, and it was fun for us too because we could all hang out and do fun group events, and it really helped us bond and create a different kind of energy for the film.
And another thing that I loved that you don't see too often in Hallmark movies, there was a double romance where each couple got an equal amount of screen time and attention. So, when you see the promo image for it, your image and Corbin's images were smaller, but that was not the case for the movie. Your roles were huge. Were you excited after you booked the role and you got the script? You were like, wow, I'm in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, I was ecstatic, especially because I'm a local actor from Hawaii. When we do get opportunities for films like this, it's usually the smaller roles. So I really did not think that I was going to be cast as Bree. So I just had fun with the audition, just throwing it out there and seeing what would happen, but without expectations or getting my hopes up. So when I did get it, my bar was set so low that I was just so through the roof in happiness. Yeah, it was so much fun. I was really happy to get the role for sure.
And after you got the role, did you know, like, well, I guess when you were auditioning, did you know if any names were attached, who was going to be in it, or was that like something you found out after the fact?
That was after the fact, yeah. After I heard from my agent that I got the role, the director McLean texted me and was like, "Hey, congratulations!" I'm like, "Thank you so much," of course. And then he told me everyone that was on the cast. I was really excited. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was a huge cast. I mean, obviously, Scott Michael Foster was in Greek, Chloe Bridges was in Camp
Mhm.
Rock, and then Corbin Blue, High School Musical, not just one, but like three of them. They could have gone on and done
Yeah,
like 10 more, and that would have been just fine with me. Like, did
yeah,
you watch High School Musical? Was that big in Hawaii?
absolutely. Yeah, that was like my whole childhood.
Okay,
Yeah, so
so
I was really excited to see Corbin on it. But at the same time, it was like when I actually met Corbin, I was like, just his energy was very welcoming and loving. And he's just such a genuine, authentic guy that you see him and you don't think, like, oh my God, it's Corbin from High School Musical. I mean, I guess some people do. But for me, it was more like, wow, he's such a great person. Like, I'm so excited to work with him, kind of thing.
yeah, and I was surprised. I mean, that's been 15 years ago, and he seems so mature. I was having a hard time. Like when I was watching him, I didn't even think about High School Musical because he's such like a grown up now. He's not like a little 17-year-old with the basketball dancing around.
And an afro.
Yes, I loved his afro. It was so him. He had like I loved his character in High School Musical, but no,
Yeah.
he's so mature now. I'm like, wow, he's grown up.
Yeah, for sure. And then his wife, Sasha, she was the one who played Candace D in the beginning, who runs off crying. She's also just the sweetest, most genuine, authentic person. And I just had such a great time with both of them. They had such genuine conversations and they're such deep, loving people. And no matter who you were on set, they were just the most respectful people. And I really, really admired that, especially coming from, such a big star and a big name.
Oh
It
yeah, that's
was
always so
really
nice to
special.
hear, like that someone's like so genuine, like off the screen and in real life. So I'm glad that was the case.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny, I did not realize until I guess it was after the movie premiered. I saw something because I was like, oh, who are all these actors? Like, and I realized his wife was Sasha. I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so cool. Did he get her cast in that so they could be together? I was wondering.
I think so. Also, Carson and Scott are together as well. So I think it was Corbin cast first, and then Scott was casted first. And then I think maybe McLean might have asked them, "Oh, do you know any actresses that could play this role?"
They're like, yeah,
That
we
kind
do.
of thing. They're like, actually, yeah, let me call her.
Yeah, she's just in the other room. Or that's so funny. I didn't even think about like two couples in real life on the movie. I love that.
Yeah, and it was even more great because it was filmed in Hawaii, so it was almost like a little vacation getaway for them too.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's so cool. I love like the behind the scenes things that most people don't realize just watching it, like the connections to other things. So, and then of course, McLean, he is married to another Hallmark director. So that's kind of cool. Lots
Hmm.
of like behind the scenes romance.
Yes, a lot of behind the scenes romance.
It seems like with Hallmark Channel, especially since COVID, people get like cast off of one tape. Did you submit multiple tapes? Did you have callbacks, or were you just one of the lucky ones that got cast off one tape?
So I did my initial audition, which was about three scenes from the movie. I think it was like the blindfolded yoga one, and then the one with Vanessa, and then I forget, there was one more, but I sent that initial tape in and then I got a call back. But this callback in particular was different from other ones that I've experienced because McLean really wanted it to be more of like an intimate like conversation. So he was like, I don't want any casting directors on it. I just want to talk to her. So it was just a interview meeting type of thing with just he and I over Zoom. And he asked me about myself and why I felt like I was good for this role, why I liked Brie, how I am as a person. And then we read some scenes together, just he and I, and he recorded it, of course, and everything. But I thought that was so special because that's kind of more my vibe anyway. Like I love just talking to people and just being authentic, and it's less nerve wracking too. So that was really cool. And he and I like kind of we just got each other. So that also made me feel really comfortable. And it was after that where it had to get approved from the network and everything. And I know McLean really pushed for me. So I'm forever grateful for him. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
kind
so
of how
cool.
my audition process went. Yeah,
It takes a little bit of the pressure off when it's more like, let's just chat and not just have you come and read your lines and goodbye. So that's cool that you got to like
exactly.
check out how like the connections were. So congratulations, one. I mean, you, like we said earlier, you
Thank
had a
you.
massive part in this movie. And I love just your energy, and it kind of like offset to Chloe Haley's like skepticism. Is that skepticism? Is that a word?
Yeah, skepticism, right. And like sarcastic, like different vibe for sure. It was a
Yeah.
fun dynamic.
It was. And did you, I mean, we've talked about Corbin Blue, High School Musical, and
Hmm.
before I have like multiple like thoughts constantly going through my mind of things to say. So first off,
Yeah,
I thought the scene with you and Corbin on the golf course and the sprinklers everywhere reminded me of High School Musical 2, when Troy and
it did.
Gabriella are on the golf course and the sprinklers go off and they dance in it. And I was like, this is just like that.
I know you're the only other person that even mentioned that, but it was going through my head. Definitely. I was like, this looks so familiar.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I was just like, this
It's
is
so funny.
crazy.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then when we were by the pool, I was like, this also kind of reminds me of High School Musical. Do we need a dance number right now?
Yes, please, let's have a dance number. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping Hallmark does like a musical and they should like set it in
Oh, I
Hawaii. Oh
know.
my gosh, they could do like a sequel for this, but a musical version.
That would be amazing. I'm so in there. Also, so many people from the cast are in musical theater and are amazing singers. Like even McLean does musical theater, I think. Well, yeah, I
If
think
he
so.
doesn't, he should.
Yeah, no, so many people are very talented with like their singing and dancing. And Corbin was on Broadway and stuff. Um,
Yeah, he did Mamma Mia at the
that would be
Hollywood
so
Bowl.
yeah, so cool.
Oh my gosh,
So
so much talent.
let's make it happen.
Oh my gosh, I know everyone would be up for it, but yeah, I mean, what a funny like coincidence. It's almost like full circle. What it was like 14 years later, here you are now with Corbin on a golf course, similar to like we just said. I mean, that's so
I
fun.
know.
That
I
is a cool
know. It was
moment for
really
you. I
crazy.
thought you were like, okay, so 14 years ago, I was in my room watching High School Musical 2. Now I'm like in a similar situation with one of the stars. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I danced all of the dance alongs with High School Musical. I knew all the songs. That was just my childhood. So it was really special. But then again, like actually being there and interacting with Corbin and everything, I couldn't think about it like that. It just didn't, I don't know. It never really crossed my mind that way. But until I take a step back and I'm like, wow, full circle.
Yeah. It's kind of like you step out,
Yeah.
like when you're in the experience, it's different than you step outside of it after you've done it. You're like, it's crazy, kind of thinking about how all this happened. Before we leave the High School Musical thing, I mean, because I could talk about this forever. I have like old CDs of the soundtrack, but which one was your
Yeah.
favorite? The first, second, or the third?
I think I just have to go with the first. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I think it was just the most impactful one because it was so different from everything else that was really on Disney Channel. It really just took off, and made such an impact on us. And I don't know, maybe it was because of my age at the time too. It just meant a lot to me. And then the second and third one, I was a little bit older, so it wasn't as impactful, I think.
Yeah, that's a good
But
point. That's a good point. Oh, yeah, the first one, you just can't beat the originals.
yeah, I remember on my way to, I don't know, maybe elementary school or something, and then looking out of the rainy window and singing When There Was Me and You by Gabriella.
Oh, that's an emotional one.
Yeah, and I'm just there, little whatever, fifth grade Tiana. I don't even know how old I was, pretending that I was the star in my own High School Musical movie.
I'm there
The
with you
drama.
100%. I love that.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Two versions, what I've been looking for. Oh, they're just both so great. I mean, we could just have a whole episode dedicated to reminiscing about High School Musical.
We really could.
I'm just glad
Yeah,
someone else likes it as much as I do. But like, we'll
I
move
know.
on to the movie that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's okay. Move on.
Easily distracted. There's so many like great moments. Like if we're gonna break down the best moments for your character, I just love how they started it out. You're in your PJs, you're drinking your wine, and you have your brackets, and you were so invested. Like the looks on your face when you're watching it, you're just like mesmerized by the show. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually writing stuff down too, and I felt like I was kind of into it in the moment. And I had to be like, wait, this acting. It's okay. The prop guy will take care of it. Like, I was so ready to just take these off and put them back on. They're like, Ty, don't touch it. Chill.
You're like, I'm writing some important things down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the bracket. It
That
was
was
kind
so
of
much
funny.
fun.
They didn't like zoom in on it much, but it was like behind you, you had like this board with all the different girls on it. I was like, I wish they'd zoomed in on that more because that was clever.
Yeah, and they actually had everyone's faces on it and their occupation. It was so good. That set in particular was one of my favorites. That was in downtown Honolulu, but they made it look like a Bay Area or San Francisco lofty apartment. And I was just so amazed. It was really cool. And then they had pictures, like the set designer made pictures of me and Chloe together from like pictures that we had, but I guess would Photoshop them and make it like their pictures together. And they were so good.
Oh, I love when
I
they
was
do
so
that. You're
impressed.
like, you can't even tell that they were photoshopped.
Yeah, it's like, wow, Haley, this is our apartment.
Yeah, they did said I liked the like industrial kind of like interior brick on the wall. It did make it feel very non-Hawaii. So that was like a really nice
Yeah,
contrast when you get to this beautiful, beautiful island.
yeah, exactly. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, those prop designers and set decorators, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they were so good. Everyone on the set was so good, and everyone brought such an amazing energy too.
Well, I think you can tell like the movie just has like something special about it. And I guess it's just, I'm sure the cast and the crew make it what it is. So it was
Mhm.
awesome. And I was going to say something. Oh my gosh, this happened. I just, like I said, I have so many thoughts and half them go away and half them stay. And
I know, I'm the same way. You have to write them down.
you have to write them in your book, like your fantasy brackets.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know what I was going to say. So I'm sure you knew that You Had Me at Aloha filmed in Hawaii earlier this year. It's Oahu as well.
Mhm.
I felt like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity with that movie to showcase the beauty of Hawaii. This movie, Love for
Mm.
Real, made up for that a million times. I couldn't get over
Oh,
these
good.
shots, and then just like the place, the house you were staying at just was beautiful. It's
Hmm.
nothing new to you. I mean, you wake up every day and see beautiful Hawaii. Did you think
Oh,
they did a
yeah.
great job just showing how pretty the island is?
I think they did an amazing job. Yeah, for sure. I wish I could just go outside and show you the mountains right now, but it's fine. I won't waste your time.
That would not be
But
wasting my time at all.
yeah, but that villa that we filmed at was so beautiful. I've never been to that place before or anything like it. So that was really special. I think they showcased like the best parts of Hawaii, and I love that they filmed on the east side. I mean, most of the films always go to Kualoa Ranch, so that was not very different when it comes to film in Hawaii, but they went to Secret Beach, and that's where they did that deserted island shoot, which is a place that not a lot of tourists go. I would say it's more of like a secret.
Secret beach.
So yeah, I thought that they really showcased the best part. Well, yeah, some of the best parts. I mean, the whole island is amazing, but if they had to pick some, these were great choices to showcase.
It was just so like lush and beautiful and green. And it was, I just couldn't get over it. Like every time they'd come back from the commercial break and they would do this just like shot of like the mountains or something, I was like, oh my gosh. And of course, the
Yeah,
horse riding scene was so cool just to see
yeah.
like, and after I know that they were doubles that rode through the mountains. But then when they finally stopped, it was just you and Corbin with this backdrop behind you. I mean, what was just
Mhm.
filming that like? Because it was so magical.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I loved filming with the horses. That was so much fun. We got to go up to a trot, I think, and then they're like, okay, switch them out. But before that, we had to do riding lessons just to make sure that we're safe and that we know what we're doing. So that was also so much fun and such a great experience and gave us another opportunity to bond with our horses before filming with them. And they were just the best horses that I ever met. The backdrop was so incredible, especially at Kualoa Ranch. You've probably seen like 51st Days, Jurassic Park, like all that stuff was filmed there, right? So that's really cool to be a part of that same kind of scenery. Actually, the first film I ever did, I think I just graduated high school or it was my junior year of high school, but I was about like 17 years old. And we filmed there, and it was this adventure movie called The Lost Adventure. So it was kind of nice to kind of be full circle again and come back and do another film now being an adult.
Yeah, that's so cool. How neat. And is that your
Yeah.
like is that the last time you got to go to that area since you made that film?
Huh. I don't know. I might have done something in between then. But yeah, I mean, personally for me, I don't go to Kualoa Ranch just to go unless I have something bringing me there. I think I might have been there for a first birthday party or something in between. But to go through everything and see the trails that they have for the ATV tours and the horse riding tours, it's so beautiful. And we actually had to take a bus down to get to that location because it was pretty far in.
Oh wow. It looks like kind of like remote, like by itself, isolated. And also another scene I thought was a pretty back to the golf course scene when you and Corbin are kissing with a rainbow and they pulled out and you saw like the water and this like little island out there. And it was just like, how is this
Mhm.
real?
Yeah, it's real. Come visit for yourself.
I've never been to Hawaii. I've never been outside of the
Oh, you
US.
have
And every
to.
time I see something about Hawaii online, like I YouTube Hawaii a lot, I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
We're very accepting here as long as the tourists are respectful of our culture because we're very big on culture here. So the tourists that come in need to be respectful of the culture and be aware of it. And other than that, we're really loving people.
Over in
Hmm.
Europe or South America or Hawaii, they have this like Japan. I mean, everywhere has such a unique
It's okay.
culture, and I love when they get to showcase that in movies. This one they didn't like as much. Like maybe like I mean, you are a dancer, a professional Tahitian dancer, so I wish they had showcased you doing that or something. That would have been cool.
Well, I think they already covered that and you had me at Aloha.
Oh,
And
that's true.
I'm
That's true.
supposed to, right? And there were a lot of my friends too that I've danced with before. And the MC I knew too. I work with her. I knew a lot of people in that one, so that
Oh,
was
that's
cool.
so cool. I talked to
But
Valen Allo back.
oh
If you,
yeah,
yeah, I talked to him. He was my first interview for the podcast. So
cool. He was also in Love for Real too.
really, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a part of the crew with Karen's character.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'll send him a message and say, "Hey, I didn't know you were in that." Cool.
Yeah. Wait, what were we just talking about? Sorry, I went sidetracked.
Oh my gosh. See, I distract. I go off course
Oh,
about like wine
cultures.
culture. Yeah, oh, there's
Yeah.
so much. There's so much to cover
Oh,
in
the
this movie.
Tahitian dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's cool about Hawaii is that we're kind of a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures as well, like a lot of Filipino influence and Asian influence, like Chinese and Japanese and like Hawaiian, of course, and then different Polynesian islands, Tahitian, Samoan, all of that. So it's cool. It's definitely different from a lot of the cultural aspects that US has, I guess. But we're unique in that way
I love
where we're
that.
very
That's so
accepting.
awesome. It's so cool
Yeah.
just to like learn about. There's so much history there. If someone wanted to like dive deep into the history of the Hawaiian Islands, I'm sure there is just an abundance of information they could find.
There definitely is. There's a lot. And there's a lot of never mind. I won't go into
Uh-oh.
it. Yeah, there's a lot of like controversial history behind the Hawaiian Islands too when it comes to their connection to the US.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. There's always something, someone acquiring
Hmm.
another place, and that never goes
Hmm.
without controversy. And I'm sure you probably would have been like,
Totally.
we could stay our own place and do our own thing.
Oh
And
yeah,
they,
people still believe that right now. So many
oh
people are very
yeah,
passionate about that here. But that's why I think it's really cool for tourists to come here and learn about that because that's not something that people really teach in schools, especially in the US. So yeah,
that's
it's
true.
cool to visit the different landmarks and understand what actually happened.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's crazy. And that wasn't even that
Yeah,
long ago when that all went down. Can't even
I
remember anything I learned
know.
in history classes in middle school and high school. It seems like many years ago because I'm getting old. But yeah, I remember learning a little bit about that, but that's been a long time. But no, I encourage everyone if they're interested, read up on the history because there's so much there.
Totally. Yes, I agree.
So let's see. Love for real. Back to love for real. Okay.
Back back to the movie.
The movie, this great movie. So I was making my notes last night because I watched it again for the second time. And there was a scene when you and Chloe, who played Haley, are in your little villa and y'all are playing cards. And she is holding cards and the camera zooms in on the King of Hearts card. And then also she's wearing a shirt with a little rainbow on it. And I thought that was like a nod to Brie wanting to see a rainbow. And I was like, oh, that is just so clever.
Wow.
Did you catch that at all?
No, that is so clever of you to pick up on. I didn't know they had that shot of the zoom in on the King of Hearts, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That was probably put there for a reason. That's really, really clever.
I wonder if
So
I
cool that
hope
they
it
did
was,
that.
or it was just a lucky thing that happened.
I don't know. I have kind of a bad memory, but I might have mentioned something about the rainbow when we were there, but I don't remember. I think it might have been intentional.
Probably people usually know what they're doing with
Probably.
that stuff. Like you're saying, like with the
Yeah.
pictures being photoshopped, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, totally. Like the costume designers, they were so on it with everything, and the set designers so on it. Everyone was just so their A game for this movie.
I've heard like the crews in Hawaii, like they're like really like they get the big projects that come through. I don't know if this was the same crew that got to work on Love for Real, but I mean, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, the crew is really good here. And I've seen them on different projects too, because I mean, the film industry is pretty small here, so everyone kind of knows everybody. So it's nice to see similar faces behind the camera and doing audio and things like that. We're
And
like one big ohana here, one big happy
oh,
family.
I like that. I mean, of course, I was a kid. I watched Lilo and Stitch. Ohana means family. We all know that.
Yes.
I thought that movie was great for showing Hawaiian culture more than like some movies. I like that was so interesting as a kid. I was like, what is this? This is so cool.
Yeah, we love Lilo and Stitch. That was
Oh,
also a big part of my childhood too.
I'm sure it was. I mean, that came out like probably almost 20 years ago. I can't believe that.
That's crazy. You're so
I,
right. That's must have been.
that stuff from like the early 2000s is like old now.
Wow. I still listen to early 2000s music and I'll never stop.
Hey, don't stop. Never stop that. That's a great era for music.
It's the best era.
It really is. I'm like so nostalgic for that time period. I have like on Instagram, I follow all like the late 90s, early 2000s accounts. And there's a brand of makeup called Color Pop. You should look it up. They have like a Lizzie McGuire line and a Powerpuff Girls line. And they're doing like
Oh
everything
my
like
gosh.
from that time period, like makeup and all the color palettes. It's crazy.
Wow. Lizzie McGuire was everything to me. Oh, I loved Lizzie McGuire. That whole era of Disney Channel was my favorite.
It was, and it was like so many like single camera comedies, not like everything's like multi-camera now. And I loved that it was still so
Hmm.
great, but it was like just the single camera. They just, it's not the same.
Yeah, and then they had such great messages too. It was so good for the kids,
Good
you
for the
know?
kids, yeah.
Good for the kids. An easy watch, funny, like heartfelt, family oriented. We love it. We love that time of
Oh my gosh. This is just a podcast all about reminiscing of
Disney.
Disney Channel when it was the absolute best. I mean, we may be a little biased because that's when we were watching it, but
Right.
oh my gosh. And then Camp Rock, Chloe Bridges. I mean, it's just like it's
Yes.
crazy. And what was it like kind of getting to connect with her? Because you two had to play BFFs and it looked flawless. What was it like working with her?
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, no, Chloe was so much fun. What I loved about Chloe was that we could, right when we met, it wasn't like fake. We could just talk and immediately just vibe and be chill. And yeah, it was so much fun. She brought such a fun dynamic to the set as well as her role. And she's so funny. She was great. I loved working with Chloe.
She was funny. I was laughing. Like she would make these kind of like faces and just the way she'd say things. And I was like, this is so funny.
Oh yeah, even when the cameras weren't rolling, she was always cracking jokes. She and her sense of humor is very funny. Yeah, very
Oh,
sarcastic.
that's fun humor. I like sarcastic humor. We need more of that on Hallmark Channel because it was kind
Yeah,
of like, oh, okay, a little
yeah,
sassy.
exactly. We love a little edge to it in the Hallmark Channel.
And your character, I felt like was just like the epitome of sweetness, except for at the when that audition, you're like, move over, Marco. And that's where you were like kind of claiming what your goals were. And I was like, well, there you go.
Yeah, I think Brie, she's passionate. So like Brie is very happy and loving and energetic and everything, but just in the most passionate way. So I think that's why her sass will sometimes come out because she's so passionate about it, right?
I would love to now that we're like talking about working with the other actors. I mean, Karen Molina White was one of the unexpected stars and joys of the movie. She
Hmm.
was so funny as Maria. I was like, whoa, talk about the sassiness and the sarcasm. She had it.
Yeah, she did. Oh my gosh. She was so funny. First day she was on set, she's very quiet, very like to herself, so loving and respectful. But like, I just never expected her to be like sassy that way. So once the cameras were rolling and we were doing the scene, I was just trying so hard to contain myself because I was like, she's so good at this.
Tiana, we need you to keep
Yeah.
a straight face, Tiana, because you've got to be like intimidated by her. And you're like, I can't. She's so funny.
Yeah, every time they would yell cut, we're all like, oh my God.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
great. I just was like, wow, it's probably like that on these reality shows where you have to be like kept in line because of all the contracts and stuff.
Yeah. But what I loved about her character was that she wasn't just one note sassy. She was also loving and she also went out of her way to help Scott's character. And it was like, she just doesn't do feelings, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, she cares. She just can't do feelings.
She has feelings, but she likes to keep them like on the down low and pull them out when they're needed.
Exactly. Secret feelings.
Secret feelings, like Secret Island or Secret Beach. Is that what it
Yeah.
was? Secret Beach and Secret Island.
Secret beach.
That's like a name of a movie, Secret Island. But
Oh yeah, that's right.
we've talked about working with all these people. Do you have like a favorite memory, maybe like on a day you weren't filming, like that you got to go offset with everyone?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's been a few. Okay, wait. So I have to say that the horse riding lesson with just Corbin and I was one of my favorite memories because, well, we had to drive to North Shore and that took an hour to drive there. So we spent a lot of time just like talking and listening to music and things like that. And of course, I had to ask him about High School Musical. But then playing with the animals was just such a great experience for me. I love animals so much. And I got to hold a baby goat that was only like 2 days old or something, or maybe a week old. I don't know. The babyest, littlest, cutest little goat.
Oh,
Yeah. So that was one of the fun offset moments. Another one we did all together was we went to Scott and Carson's hotel room and we played games. We had game night. McLean created this game called Empire, and basically, I don't know, it's a lot to explain, but it was a fun interactive game where you like whisper with each other, and it's kind of like you form a team. So that was so much fun for all of us. Another one was at the end to wrap our shoot. We went to one of the luau's here to watch and have Hawaiian food and watch a Polynesian dance show. So that was also very memorable and so special for all of us to do together.
oh, that's so fun. Like a great bonding experiences. And I love that you had game night with a like a totally original game.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And we did charades, of course, and everyone's so into it too. Carson in particular was so into it.
Oh,
And there,
charades were a blast.
oh yeah, and it was serious charades. It was like, we're not here to play around. Carson's like, okay, let me give you the rundown. This is 2 syllables. This is 2 words. This is first word. This, and like we go through all of the steps to make sure her team knows what's going on.
You're like, I think she's played charades before. This is not her first time.
Yeah, we were like screaming and running throughout the hotel room because we're in like 2 different locations of the hotel room, and then we have the list of things that we need to charade or act out. Once someone guesses the thing, then we would run to the main person who wrote all of the stuff down and then get the next one and then come back, and then whoever finishes first won. So it was like we have to do it as quick as we can.
Oh my gosh, that's an intense game. Oh, that
It
sounds
was
so much
so
fun.
intense. The most anxiety, but it was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I love that. See, those are like the memories, like not even being on the set, like the things you do outside of it, they were like, I will just cherish those memories forever.
Exactly. Yeah, I really will. It was so much fun. And to talk to everyone while not like on set is different too, because when you're on set, you're trying to think of your lines. You're worried about like, okay, are they shooting yet? Like how much time do I have? Like that kind of thing. So you can't truly like just let go and have fun all the time. So it's nice to do things outside of set like that where we can really just like talk as people and laugh and have fun and joke and yeah, play games.
Well, I think that's what helps it come off so well in the movie. Everyone just like clicked, and it's like, well, y'all don't know this, but we were playing charades when we're not filming. That's why it's working so well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun bonding moments.
And speaking of bonding moments, at least for your character, I loved how they introduced Marco to Bree with the blindfolded yoga. One, have you ever done blindfolded yoga? And just talk us like through this scene.
Never in my life have I done blindfolded yoga. It was actually so hard. And leading up to the day of shooting, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can't even stand up with my eyes closed, like on 2 feet. So yeah, it was fun. We made it work. There was a lot of takes, and of course with cutting through different takes and stuff like that, it flowed fine. But it was a fun experience.
It was so funny. Like, and you're not expecting him to show up, and then all of a sudden he like takes his shirt off, and he's putting it on, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what's going on here? This is like unexpected."
Of course, yeah, I had no idea he was taking his shirt off because I my eyes were closed. But I had a watch party with all of my friends, and once that scene came on, everyone was screaming, "Woo!" Like it was so funny, so into it, so interactive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corbin worked so hard for this role. He did such a great job. Like, because he had to look like a football player. So he was on a really strict diet and he did amazing. Very inspiring.
Wow, I can't believe he did that. I mean, I was like, wow, he's in amazing shape. Who thought Chad Danforth was in this good of shape after, I mean, not playing basketball for a while? But no, I was
Yeah.
like so impressed. I mean, it takes a lot of work to look like that and like that be that fit. Like it does not come easy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm sure he was fit before this role anyway, but to just like help it be that one extra step of chiseled, he was on this carnivore diet where he only ate meat. And then the day of shooting, he carb loaded and ate a bunch of carbs and dehydrated himself so that it like looked a little more together. His muscles looked a little more popping.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's nuts. That's like, that's
yeah,
dedication for a role.
such dedication. Yeah, that's why it was so inspiring.
Wow, that's
Such a hard
crazy.
worker.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say hard worker, so much respect. Oh my gosh, Corbin Blue, that's amazing. Or,
Discipline.
oh, the discipline. I mean, like, I eat
Hmm.
cheeseburgers and have milkshakes from Sonic. I don't know if you have those in Hawaii, but I'm like, I don't think you can eat those and look like that.
I know. No, we don't have Sonic here, but we have the commercials. So
Oh,
it
that's
just
funny.
taunts with us all
You're
the
like, I
time.
want that burger so badly, and I want
Um,
that Reese's milkshake thing, and I can't.
yeah, I'm like, I want to sit in the car with my milkshake.
And have funny
That's what the commercials
conversations
are,
with the
right?
people in the car with me.
Exactly.
That's so funny. Well, I'm surprised they don't have that there. Maybe they'll get one someday. If not, you can just come to the US and get a Sonic burger.
I know. I think I'll have to.
Speaking of like moving to the US, do you think you'll move to LA to like pursue acting in that capacity? Or are you just like content living in beautiful Hawaii and doing it there?
So I lived in LA for 2 years, thinking that I was going to stay in LA and act there and build my career from there. But then I got into a bad car accident, which is kind of what like forced me to come home. And and then I stayed in England for a little bit and traveled a little bit. So it was after that that I really regained a true appreciation for living in Hawaii. And after that, I'm like, I don't know if I ever really want to move again because this is just home to me and it has such a different spirit. And it's, I don't know, it's so different living here from LA. So I would definitely travel to LA to do work and work on films and stuff for long term, but I don't think I would move there. And I definitely don't want to like start a family there. I'd rather raise a family here and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm very open minded and I'll see wherever the wind takes me. But as of now, it's not really a plan of mine to move to LA. I am very grateful for all the opportunities that's been coming here. So we've been really fortunate with that. There's been a lot of work popping up over here in Hawaii.
That's fantastic. And then you don't like you can like sleep in your own house and then go to set. Like you don't have to travel like you're like in a hotel room or anything. And it's so cool that you still got to go to LA. You've been over to England, like you said, you've experienced other places and you're like, nothing compares to Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like the weather, the people, and my family's here too. Everything is just different. And like I said, we're very big on culture and dancing is a big part of my life, like hula and Tahitian dance. So living in LA, I still tried to dance while I was there, but it was just different, you know? So I can't really picture my life without that aspect. But like I said, I'm open-minded and whatever opportunities come, I'll definitely take them and see where the wind takes me.
I mean, now with like everything being on tape for the most part, you don't have to go in a room. You can get a huge role. And then obviously you got this and you just got to be right where you are. But yeah, you can just like things are different now. So you don't necessarily have to be in LA, which is kind of nice. Thank you so much for talking with me. Before we finish up, do you have any other projects you can share on that you're working on or anything? I mean, I know you sound like you dance full time outside of this, but is there anything else you can share on?
So I actually have a movie musical that I'm in the pre-production process of. We've been kind of working on this for about 2 years now. It was paused because of COVID, but yeah, it sounds like we'll be filming starting next year. So that's exciting.
Oh,
And we just
wow.
started recording some of the music for it. And it's a Hawaii musical. So a lot of the songs are written by John Cruz, one of a big music producer here locally. So it's cool. Hopefully, it also showcases the beauty of Hawaii and what we're about and our aloha spirit and stuff too.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, how cool. And you
Yeah.
get to do a musical. I mean, it sounds like it's right up your alley.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, well, what a fun project to get to work on. I hope you have such a great time doing that. Thank you so much
Thank
again
you.
for chatting. It was so great learning about all this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was so nice talking to you too. Even
Yeah,
though we were sidetracked a lot, it was so much fun.
it happens. It happens. I mean, don't mention Disney Channel from the 2000s or else we're going to stop talking about what we need to talk about. But before
Yeah,
we
and we'll
finish,
go on forever.
I mean, I would love to talk with someone like I could have a podcast and talk to you and other people just about that. And we could reminisce about Hannah Montana. But back in the
Perfect.
day.
I'm there.
Thank you again. Have an awesome rest of your day. Congratulations on Love for
Thank
Real. It was
you.
awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. You have a great day too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening to this interview with Tiana. I hope you learned all about Love for Real, and I hope you enjoyed the movie. I just personally loved it. Be sure to give Tiana a follow. I'll include the links to her socials in the show notes, as well as the discount code and links to the bundle game if you are interested. I really appreciate you tuning in every week to this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.